Hi, Streamlabs. Thanks for resetting all my my account settings. That's a lovely thing to wake up to. Hello, happy December 1st, everybody, and welcome to the new world with a new book in it. Hey, hey, hey. Cheers. It's full. I haven't even taken a sip yet. Hot chocolate. So it's the regular Sunday stream time. I'm dressed up in red and green for some Christmas spirit. I've done my decorating. Did that on a member only stream earlier. So I got my stocking, my garlands, my how many days till Christmas, just to be a little Christmas elf-ish. And I've got a poll up in the live chat. So I was sort of gonna make this a space for talking about the new book, Orla Rafferty Seeks Her Fortune. But there's a lot of stuff going on. So I put in a little poll. I had a fabulous time yesterday going around to some favorite small businesses and a couple new small businesses to support Small Business Saturday or Shop Small, whatever people are calling it these days. And that was very fun. Also pretty tiring. I was out from like 9:30 to 5:30, like 8 hours in the car from place to place. Stopped for some lentil soup, but it was a good time. It was a good time. And Portland is a great place to find small businesses, turn around. I mean, you can't drop a hat without finding one. So it was good. Get that hot chocolate, Ben. You know you want to. So welcome everyone in the chat. Leslie says, I flip and love this photo on the thumbnail. So I was looking for one that would be like writing update kind of plain because I tend to go overboard on thumbnails. And this is the one where I'm grimacing, as Leslie says. So then I hid my eyes and it just looks funny. I thought it looked funny. Eva is here. Hello, hello. Yeah. I want to redo my settings for these comments, how they look as well. I don't know why Streamlabs restarted my account. It said I had to reconnect Google and YouTube, and now none of my banners are in there anymore. Like, I don't know what happened. I'm sure they're still going to bill me on the 8th of December. The hot chocolate looks so good. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. I don't have marshmallows or whipped cream or anything, but it's Trader Joe's base, and I do half of a bar with hot milk, and then I add more water and my Aztec hot cocoa from the like good chocolate purveyor that I repossessed. So I gave these as gifts to some people in my family. The Aztec one is quite hot if you're just using that for your hot chocolate, so I have to add it to something else to calm it down. And the mint one is also overly strong, so I have to add that to something else to make it taste great. But now I've got the formula and I'm well on my way. Proper good, or well good, as Gareth says. I don't know the Welsh way to do it. Eva says, so festive, gay book launch. Then came in and said, I may have to go make a hot chocolate. Yeah, I think that's a good idea. Stargator. Oh my gosh. Hi. Haven't seen you in a long time. Welcome back. And Ben's waving. And Catpaw says, here for now. Catpaw's been very, very busy. I think in something a little bit more intensive writing-wise than me. So I hope you're doing well. Oh boy. Ben says, had a massive argument with Streamlabs a couple of weeks ago, ended up deleting and reinstalling the thing to fix it. Oof. Okay, all right then. There was an Orla in the community for a while, I think. But I assume you chose the name based on the era, more name lore, if you'd like to share. Oh, okay. Let me check my Q&A. Okay, well, for votes, we're going to go with Q&A. Oh, you can't see it as much as I can in my window. That's interesting. All right. So yeah, so we'll go off the hot chocolate talk and talk about the book for a second. I don't want to hold it the whole time, but like I couldn't figure out a better way to frame this. Let's just do that. So Orla Rafferty. So she originally had a different name. And she originally had a different backstory. And then there were two competing backstories. And because I had written parts of the story at different times, they didn't fit together. So in the editing process, I actually had to go through and think, wait, what was that connected to? And take it out if it didn't make sense with them coming together. So it was a bit of a weave. And Orla came from wanting an Irish name that was easy to pronounce. So unlike Myrna, which a lot of people had problems with in the Scots Gaelic, and something that was definitely like sounded Irish and wasn't too far away from people's imagination. So I don't know an Orla, so I don't know the person you're talking about there. So at least I don't think I do. So yeah, and then the Rafferty was actually pretty late in the process because she was a Smith, because she's a widow and her married name was Smith. And then I thought, well, the important part that I'm going to be highlighting in this series is these descendants of the Raffertys who came over. And so I put her maiden name in there because that's going to be the connecting link between the characters. So in case anyone's confused, like that's it. Yeah, name lore. That's a good one. That's me. What did I say? I didn't say anything. I wonder why that is in there. Mary says, I'm excited for your new book. It pays to follow your favorite author. Well, maybe the reason you've come back is because you were on the newsletter, and I haven't sent one of those in a blue moon, but I sent it on the eve of the launch. And so I said, hey guys, hi from the past 8 months. So maybe that was a good reminder. Cover is beautiful. Oh, thank you. Yeah. So I usually go to the Cover Collection, which is a British small business, and they do covers. But when I went through all of their pre-made covers, none of them really hit, even like adjacent. And so I went back to my process of Googling for pre-made ebook covers and found another studio that was like smaller. I think there's two ladies who do different parts of the business, and they had some that were much more like historically oriented. And I thought, well, this is a little classier than I was looking for. She definitely looks fancier than I imagined, Orla, but I thought it looked really cool, and it was going for like a historical vibe and like a mystery. Like she's looking off, and that's the seeks her fortune part. Like I really wanted to highlight the feeling of like stepping into her power. So she's a little young, she's a little rich, but you know, we're aging down. We're casting the blonde bombshell in Hollywood, if you will. That's the equivalent of putting someone like that on the cover, I think. Eva says, love her name, love the cover. Thank you. And Jim is here. Hey, y'all. Hey, Jim. Jim and I have been texting back and forth on Twitter DMs about what's happening in Tbilisi. So, oh, Leslie says, what made you choose that specific time period? And Leslie's given me the perfect lead in here to highlight. It is December 1st on Sunday here today for me and for Leslie. And the 5th, which is Thursday, I will be a guest on Leslie's channel on YouTube, and we're going to be talking about all the books, all the author stuff, all the booktube stuff. And so you definitely want to pop over to her channel, Books, Gers, and Purrs, and get a notification or subscribe if you're not already. And that is going to be 6 p.m. Pacific, maybe. Correct me if I'm wrong. I just made it into an Instagram story. So there we go. Marketing done. Specific time period. So it's 1830s Glasgow. And I came about that decision because I tried a different time era, and I tried this time era and I actually changed it again in that editing process where I had to weave together two different backstories and decide and then change a bunch of stuff. I had settled on 1833 and then I had to change it to 1834. So there were a lot of references I had to change based on that and the research. But the one that I was trying at first to make into a story was the 1890s, because I'm familiar with American politics in that time period, and the fact that it's the progressivists, the populists, the rise against the Gilded Era, and a lot of things like backlash came against some of the corruption and the inequality. And so when I thought about that, that really intrigued me. And then when I started looking back, I was like, really interested by all the movements that started, like the seeds for that. So in the 1830s was when in the capital of the world, the center of the universe, the UK in terms of the British Empire at the very end of its peak, we had abolition happening. We had the reform movement happening for the vote. We had the Catholic, what's it called? Emancipation. Again, the meaning of emancipation is thrilling if you look into it. And so like on religion, on race, on class, we've got a lot of things changing or being questioned. And so that was when I thought the characters would have the most play. Like I could do a lot with them in terms of how do these big social movements affect the person's daily life, ordinary person. And so that's why I thought, oh, okay, I'm going to move from my other decades of the 19th century into the 1830s. I've done the 1830s before, but it was in Canada. And I suppose a little bit in Scotland as well. But this is definitely like urban Scotland, different characters, backstories, different experiences. So different research. Great question. Those are my favorite newsletters. The ones that happen every 8 months. Okay. Since I've been on Booktube, says Jim, the only authors I've read more books by than you are V.E. Schwab, Frida McFadden, and Agatha Christie. Okay, so maybe, no, you weren't the one. It was somebody else. There was another author, maybe, who recently put up a video about books they've read the most authors by. And the thing is, on Storygraph, I emailed them about this, and they haven't gotten back to me. I asked about how to see what this is, because for every year you get a year-end stats, right? You get a look and they give you graphs and everything, and they order which author you've read the most books from, but they only give you like 5. And I'm like, so the power is there. It's looking among the books that you've chosen and it's sorting and giving you a graph, but I want to see like the next 5, because all these 5 were historical, mystery and whatnot. And so I was like, well, what's the next one? Because I'm trying to find a literary author and where they are. Otherwise, I'd have to go back through all 140 and like count, and that seems quite tedious. Actually, no, it was for all time. I was trying to do it for all time books, and they still do the graph, but they only give you like the first 5 or 6. And I was like, can you show me how to do this? And they haven't responded. But that would be a really useful thing. Jim has done it, and I don't know if Jim's going back through all his notebooks from like decades and decades and decades, but obviously he's just looking for the Booktube years here, so not as onerous, perhaps. Eva says, that's amazing. Well done. Good on you, Jim. December 5th is my son's birthday too, says Eva. Yeah, there was a lot going on yesterday. I was saying like it was my launch day, but it was also like a bunch of things were going on. Small Business Saturday, obviously. Leslie had a stream with Native Lady Book Warrior. That was Kim, and she doesn't come on here much anymore, so I was really excited for that, but I had to like join in my car sitting sitting at a parking spot where I couldn't pay. So I had to like rush through the farmer's market and rush back to make sure I didn't get a ticket because I was like very anxious about that. Then had his birthday for the channel stream. So I popped into there for a hot minute, but like there was so much going on. Eva says we should have cake. I like a cake idea. I do have a very overripe banana over there that I might use for banana bread and chocolate. So, yes, this has turned into a Q&A about Orla Rafferty Seeks for Fortune. So feel free to pop a question in the comments. Gareth, hello, hello. I already mentioned your name today when I said something in a Welsh way, or not a Welsh way, Portsmouth way. Good to write about what you love, which would go for when it's set too. Yeah, I can't say I love the costume choices in the 1830s and the hairdressing. Like it's really ridiculous. It's really hard to love. I love the historical costumers that go for it. It's not my jam. I'm much more like Regency for costumes. But yeah, 1830s politics wise is really like hot stuff. Do you have a link? Oh yes, I think Leslie is empowered on the channel, so she should be able to share a link. It's also in my Instagram stories if you're on Instagram. Cat Paw says Thursday is my mother's and foster mother's heavenly birthdays too, 1998 and 2007. Ah, maybe the day when they passed. Wow, that's a coincidence or not, depending on how you look at it. December 5th, special day indeed. Eva says, I read The Keening and have book 3 of that series now. Yes, you do. I need to snag and read book 2. Yes. And you can always see if you can get it in your library. I mean, I think it's standalone, but I don't know. I don't have enough data comments to really say I have an objective opinion on that. Cat Paw says, I got Orla at midnight. Yes, you did. And I know because you're the only one who went through Smashwords because the stubborn paid off. I love it. I love it. I love it. I very much appreciate it. Leslie's got the link for her stream on Thursday. Adega says, thank you. Way to go. I'm excited. Eva says, hugs to you, friend. It's a good birthday, though. To Cat Paw, right? Not Leslie. I was getting confused there. There we go. Subbed. Yay! Leslie got a subscriber. Eva says, have you read this book already then, Leslie? No, she has not. I'm excited to pick Margaret's brain. Oh boy. Better come prepared. 7 books. What's that feel like? Not enough? We were talking a little bit about this on Sam Wicker's stream earlier today. She and a few others do a lovely sort of panel swap around series called Breaking the Block, writer Sam Wicker. And Eva was talking about how you celebrate, and sometimes you have to fake celebrating even if you don't feel it, because then you'll feel like it was a milestone when you look back on it. And I don't know. I'm kind of waffling on that right now. Yeah. I had a big push to get this book out this year so that I felt like I was on track, even though that's kind of a silly, arbitrary deadline. And that led to stress about formatting and shipping and payment and events and all this kind of knock-on effects. But I think that's the only way I will finish things and get them out the door. So I think I need those arbitrary deadlines. But then when it comes around, I'm kind of like, okay, on to the next one. It's pretty anticlimactic. Yeah, and someone said I've been promoting it for 2 months. And I'm like, have I? I don't think I've really done much to promote this. I try to remember to mention it in my normal streams, but I'm doing my normal streams. Like I did the author interview series, Good Fight Fridays, and that was definitely to like build up to the launch. But those haven't been huge videos, despite the fact that I really am proud of the authors that I had on. I think that we had great conversations. I've kept to my main book reviews and, for the most part, productivity streams and tags every month, and sprinkling in my writing updates and whatnot. But I don't think I've done any. I did a book tag that was based on the book, so that was promotional. But I definitely feel like Lena Norm's books is called A Half-Arse Human, and I definitely feel sometimes like I'm half-arsing things, if you get my drift. But great question. Thank you, Eva. Eva says, Notion template waiting to be created and sold. What is that? Notion template for what? I don't know what that's about. Why is something buzzing? Oh, there it is. Okay. It's like my phone's buzzing. Okay. Good. I'm curious about this. Leslie says, Eva, I love the Remnants trilogy. I'm excited to hear your thoughts on the trilogy overall once you've read them. Sounds good. December 30th was Mark Twain's birthday. Interesting. Do you remember that just like out of the blue? Mark Twain is one of the people that I'm like, maybe I'm related to him. Even though the Clemens is spelled differently. Ben says, someone say cake. I like cake. We had cake at the beginning. Did you accidentally pause the video? Thanks for popping in on the live. You're a busy lady. Yeah, I wish I could have like weighed in a bit more, but it was fun. I'm glad you guys got to talk. And you had a lot of interesting like cultural observations, especially on Kim's side, about maybe the things that you thought were missing were like perceived differently because of like cultural expectations around relationships, which I thought was really interesting. Really cool. Brian is here. Hello. Good morning, good Sunday afternoon, actually, in Texas. Thank you for the congratulations. Yes, this is a Q&A on the book release. It's what it's turned into based on the poll. So we're in the Christmas spirit. We've gotten out our lovely decorations, and you can tell if you catch over here, it's a sunny day. So it's a beautiful sunny Sunday, and I'm very thankful for a week where it's not raining all day. It's a nice little break for us here. Nice to see you. Eva says, I was born in the right era. Here in my sweats and hoodie. Oh, yes. Okay, that's when I was talking about costumes. Yeah. So Gareth is asking about, am I covering the Chartist movement? Ooh, someone who knows their stuff. So I went deep into the Chartist movement, and I wanted my people to be involved in it. But then I'm starting earlier, and I had a real like red yarn and push pin moment when I was trying to figure out when I would do which stories and in which order. So like I said, there's a lot going on, and I wanted to take ordinary people to highlight each of the movements. And because this is in 1834, it's really before the Chartist movement gets going, but the people were already working on stuff. So I've used one of the famous real people as an actual character, James Bronte O'Brien. And yeah, we don't know a lot about him historically, but I read a biography, and I'm not giving it back because it's not due until January. So I figured I'd touch up again when I launched so I could talk about him a bit. So my plan is when I go to the other people, one is in Manchester, based in Manchester, and one is based in Dublin, that I would be using the threads with Orla, who is still connected to the people later, to talk about what's happened. I do have like a little epilogue at the end, and that's my like doffing of the hat to the Chartist movement. But yeah, the people are definitely there. The forerunning events are definitely there with the unstamped press and the fight for reforms, further reforms in the 1832 bill, and all that stuff. So like lectures and yeah. But I don't go into the whole full-blown thing because of the date. So you'll have to wait for the second and third of the series to like get updates on that. But great question. Thank you. Thank you, plant in the audience. Oh, Eva's doing the Lord's work. There's a link to Sam's channel where we were earlier today. It's lovely. And Leslie says, oh, another question. Was there anything about your research travels that made you change parts of your story or inspire you? Yes. So again, because I was sort of tweaking real life historical figures that no one knows, I didn't want to allude to them in a way that would be historically inaccurate, but I wanted to represent the combination of their characters and like the spaces in which they were. So for instance, when I went to explore in Ayrshire, I went to the Three Tunes, and one of the towns had a monument to a philanthropist who had been a doctor, who had served the town, who had served the poor in the baths. And then the baths are now like private condos, whatever. They're still there though. And it was in the period that I was interested in. But there was also the more known doctor figure, philanthropist, who was from London, who was the one who discovered the like cholera connection with the water pumps and all that, the outbreaks, but that was later. So I put a little, I mean, I don't know if you can call it an Easter egg, but I put a little mention of someone who was interested in someone who had a theory about water pumps or something like this. And so if you know the era and you know what's going on scientific discovery wise, or if you're from the area, I mean, it's like an hour and a half on the train. So like Ayrshire, the town where I did the research, is where some of the people came from. But Glasgow is where all the action takes place in my book because they all need to come together. So I needed like an urban center. So you'll probably recognize things like that. But I did put that in the author note. So if you're curious what's real and what's not and who isn't today in today's reality, look for the author note. But you did it. The launch, I'm lost. Yes, mental games to get ourselves to move. I get that a lot. Yes. Yeah, so I've got a book out in 2024. So now I feel like, okay, I've got some time, because now when I released the last trilogy, it was 2015, 2017, 2019. So I had 2 years in between the pub dates. I think I could probably, since this is late in the year, I could probably do earlier 2026 for the next book, but I haven't drafted it yet. So we'll see. But yeah, that's the vague plan. Brian just ordered Orla. Yay! Thank you. So yes, you'll either have this lovely lady who's not very long. It's like 236 pages, or you'll have it on your ebook reader, e-reader, since we don't want to say the evil empire, very soon. Excellent. Oh, okay. I was wondering if you meant was because he's dead or was because it was yesterday, and got it. November 30th. Okay, gotcha. Eva says, I remember once long ago you mentioned how AuthorTube talked about marketing new books, but not much about past books. And I can't see because there's an arrow. Something you joined with books under your belt. My tip was write another book. Yes. One of the pitfalls of marketing, one of the problems, I guess, is that, or maybe it's maybe it's a myth, that people are more interested in new releases than they are in your backlist, because there's two conflicting like lessons or myths, right? Which is that new release is what will get people to buy, but backlist is what will pay your bills, meaning if they like your book, they'll come back for more books. And if you have more books, then you sell more. But if you don't, like, they have nowhere to go and you lose that momentum or that energy. So write another book is good advice, especially if that book makes people come back to read the others. So yeah. When you ask, like, how does it feel to write a 7th book? I'm like, well, I'm still not on 20 books that gives me 50K, if you know the conference, 20 books to 50K. But, 7, 13, 26 more years and we're there. Eva says, excited to see if my inexperienced advice is accurate. Well, at this point, it's less about how well the books do and more about like keeping going. It's something that I want to do and share, and it's wrapped into, why is this doing something weird? It's wrapped into, am I sitting weird or is it the shirt? It's just wrapped into how I want to live, and yeah. I do have 2 questions for you guys. So let me see if this will, oh, I can do it at the top so it's not taking over the bottom of the screen. All right. So I got like 2 interesting questions. Back to the chat. Where did it go? Did it skip all the way down because I went to another section? Yes, it did. Okay. Now I have to go back and find where I left off with Eva's comment. Okay. Notion template for lifetime reading stats. Oh, because you can do a formula, but if the data is not there to extract, Notion's not going to help. Excuse me. Hot chocolate is making me. Okay, I'm catching up to the chat. I think I'm making some progress. Jim says, I have a literary calendar on the wall. It has birthdays of famous authors. Oh, nice. Okay. Meanwhile, I changed the page in my calendar this morning on my member stream, and I got anniversary of the Statute of Westminster for December 11th, and I don't recognize that as a holiday at all. Apparently, it's a thing in Canada, and now the light's bugging me, so be right back. Sorry, Bean. You gotta wait. You gotta wait. He's probably overheating anyways. I was trying to leave the last window curtain open so that the cat tree would get the nice warm sunlight, but he's probably roasting, so. And it's bugging me. Ben is sorting my new bookcases out. Ooh! Karen at Roving Reader was just getting new bookcases shipped in on Friday, and Ben is also getting new bookcases. That's really fun news. Everyone all together with me. Jealous. Cheers. It's overcast here with snow on the ground. Yeah, Ariadne just shared that there's snow on the patio where they are, and yeah. And Pennsylvania got a whole dump of snow, and it was 4 feet high on a car. That was a little much. Eva says to Jim, that's neat. Mark Twain was near scripture, but secular, it felt like, as I grew up, always talking or reading his work. Wow. Interesting. That was not my experience. I don't think I maybe read The Jumping Frogs of Calaveras County and one of the readers where you get excerpts and ask questions, but we read Huckleberry Finn. It was just a handful. Gareth says, oh, I love that. The Chartists were so important, but yeah, more 1840s. Great that you're referencing it, though. Yes. And hopefully I'll find more ways to work them in. So yeah, it's exciting. Eva says, I'm going to learn so much reading this. Maybe. I hope so. And then immediately forget it again. Audience plant. Yeah. This kind of reminds me of when you have like live theater and like someone in the audience is a volunteer, but they're like a plant. So yeah, I appreciate that. Jim says, slavery abolished in most of the British Empire by the Slavery Abolition Act of 1833. Yes. And here's the thing. There was a fight, though, because it went into effect in 1834, and it was supposed to have 8, 10, something like that years of apprenticeship. And the news of the Abolition Act leaked to the colonies, and even though the slave owners tried not to let the news get out, people learned about it and started rioting. And so here and there they have different abolition days because the slave masters were, being threatened and wanted to keep their skins. So they said, all right, I guess we have to do this. Finally did. I think 1838 is the first, so it still took 4 years. Not even 200 years ago. Mm-hmm. Shake my head. Our ancestors are older than that. That's just our legit family genetics in those 200 years. We weren't dumb. That was on purpose. Oh, I missed a comment. This will make sense. Nope. No, I didn't. Okay, why doesn't it make sense, Eva? Our ancestors are older. That was on purpose. Yeah. I'm just reading it and not understanding. I think the gist is that it wasn't that long ago. They did this on purpose. Like, why haven't we done the work to change that outlook? I mean, that's what I think. Let me not put words in Eva's mouth. Will you do a book in 2025? I think I'm going to do a big trip in 2025. So, folks on the East Coast, look out. Yes. Anita says, hi, AF Stewart, coming over from another stream. Yep. Lots of streams on Sunday. Eva says, I feel too stressed to read new releases most of the time. Like, I tend to read a random book I own. I may have bought it at release, but the odds that I read it at release are very low. Bet against, and then I bet against. Maybe that's the entire comment. Yeah, I hardly ever read new releases, but you know what? I'm going to have to read a new release for Herkyed. Herkyed, in case you don't know, is the hardest reading challenge you've ever done, HRCYED, and it's run by the channel QWordy. And it's a year-long challenge, and one of the prompts is to read a new release in the month or within a month after it's released, one for every month. And so I'm getting those mostly from Libro, because I never get on the library wait list early enough to be the first to get a book. And I don't think I've bought any that were new releases and read them in time. But yeah, that's actually making me read things a little earlier. Like The Truth According to Ember, which was a Native American Heritage Month read that Leslie also read. But you did a review of it. Yes. So that was fun. Cat Paw says, adding chartists as possible future rabbit holes, LOL, as if I needed more. Yeah. I think it's interesting. One of the original guys who was pretty well set up, I read his diaries, and they were pretty dang boring, and they really didn't touch on much of the action that he was involved in, because I feel like he had ill health, and so he was mainly like a puller of strings behind the scenes for people. But it was basically like he would try to get on with his life and earn money. And people were always coming to his house to ask him for problems, and he was having ad hoc like meetings and people dropping in, and he was having to like look up things for them. I'm like, this is a paid position. It's called being on the city council. This poor guy. Jim says, I'm hoping to renew my passport by the end of the year. Okay. So we're getting to the point where we're answering my question up here. What are you still hoping to do before 2024 is over? So I'm interested in your answers. Anita says, I want to keep editing and finish my outline before 2024 ends of the same story. So you draft, you edit, and then you outline, or you re-outline. I'm curious about your process. Oh, Eva says, figure myself out, maybe. I don't know. Yeah, I think that's an ongoing process. I think none of us ever end that task. So Eva also says, my Illinois schools were near either his early home or his late home. Okay. I think that's why he was so popular with Curricula Reed Twain. I don't see her much anymore, but Martha is also in Illinois, and she was near whose house? Whose house did she do a special like visit on a video? I can't remember. Is it like Willa Cather? No. Oh, Jane Addams. And that was really cool. Like, we don't learn enough about Jane Addams. Frick, Mark Twain, whatever. Yeah. Eva says, correct on the just time. It's fine. We're all muddling through together. Eva says, I've never succeeded at a reading challenge. QWordy and I know of one another, though. I love her book awards at the end of the year. Ooh, okay. Do I know about these? Maybe not. Yeah, but I'm in her Discord now, and it's very active. So it's one of those ones where I can't read everything. But she seems really cool and like just passionate about stuff, which is always like motivating for me. Eva says, I also read her series, Ashport Archives, or the first 3 of the 4 books. The 4th wasn't out yet. Nice. Yes, fellow indie author. Way to go for the support. That's awesome. We're talking about new releases. Anita says, I recommend House of Frank, released in October. House of Frank. Frank as a last name or a first name? I'm curious what this is about. And Jim says, others doing the QWordy Herkied challenge could read your book as a new release. Yes. One channel, and I can't remember which person, but they told me they were going to read my book as a new release, and they have, maybe it's Amy. I think it's Amy from A Star Reads, and she said, oh, I'm going to read your book for the November release, because you get like two weeks or a month after. But yeah, that should be fun. No, it is year-long. It started in July, like July 12th. She had some random date that she started it on to finish by, so it's fun. Oh, QWordy is live at the moment, too. Yeah, she's been doing productivity sprints and, like, reading sprints, stuff like that. Oh, okay, so that's not a process question. That's editing one and outlining another, because you do the outline first, like a normal person would think. Got it. Excellent. Mark Lame. Mark Twain. Lame. I think that's what that was about. JC is here. Hello. Dropping in 43 minutes in. I can't believe I missed the first 40 minutes of this. Congratulations on the book release. Thank you. I'm my little Christmas elf self doing my little launch-ish stream. So happy December, everybody. Oh, I was just talking about Pennsylvania getting dumped on with snow. Here's Beth Ann. I was just thinking about you. Beth Ann says, hooray for book release. I'm counting your book as my November new release for her kid. It wasn't Beth Ann. So now 2 people are doing it. Amy and Beth Ann. That's amazing. I love it. Thank you. Nice to see you. Thank you for being here. Anita says, House of Frank is a cozy fantasy with a side order of feels. Well, cozy fantasy already really like comes with getting in the feels. But is it the first or last name? I'm going to guess, based on the cozy fantasy part, that Frank is the first name. Because I was like, House of Frank? That could be like Anne Frank, and you're dealing with like a prequel, and then it's really dark or serious, or I don't know. So that's why I was wondering who's Frank. But cozy fantasy, I'm thinking it's Frank somebody. Oh, Beth Ann says, I'm supposed to be working right now while my daughter watches a movie and you are distracting. Oh, okay. Well, I usually try to keep these under an hour, so only 15 minutes left of distraction, if that helps. Mark Lame was mocking his name. Yes, okay. Leslie loves a good distraction. It's all good. It's Sunday. Why are you working on Sunday? Okay, another question from Brian. Oh, and let me take this down because I don't think anyone else who wants to answer it is going to answer it. Brian, okay. How many edits did you do on Orla before sending it out for feedback? So let's see. It's hard to divide something up when you only go part way, but I would say I would say 2. I would say I drafted it, and then I took lots of notes about names, about events, and I went through individually to do those different things, but I didn't go all the way through. So it was a very slow second go through because I was making a note. Like on this page, there's 4 things I need to look up. No, then I guess it's 3 because when I looked stuff up, that was a separate pass because I had to go back for the historical stuff. So yeah, 3. And then I sent it out to my lovely friend Christy Stratos, professional editor, for developmental edit, and she was great. So highly recommend. Beth Ann says no snow in my part of Pennsylvania, sadly. Oh, I saw this crazy video where there were like 4 feet of snow on top of a car, and they were trying to get out. That was Erie, Pennsylvania. Okay, so that's in the western part near the lake. Gotcha. Any reading challenges just in December you have to recommend? No. And you know why? Or you know what? That messed up my calendar of videos because usually I have before the month, I have a readathon recommendations video. And for December, I looked at Pages with Pages roundup of December readathons last year, and none of them really called out to me. They all seemed to be not thematic, but things that don't get me to read a book. Like find blue on the cover, find this name in the book, find between 350 and 400 pages, just like random things. And what I gravitate towards for readathons are like focusing on a topic. So kind of like Leslie does author-focused months where she says, I'm going to read 3 books by this person so that I can compare and sort of get a sense of the breadth of their work. For a readathon, for me, it's like, okay, if we're reading about nature, if we're reading about this historical era, if we're reading about Caribbean authors, like I'm getting a grouping of books that sort of will inform the experience of reading each other. That's not a great grammatical sentence, but I think you know what I mean. Whereas like making a stack of books because, well, and now I'm going to like cheat on myself here because I have a stack of books for next Sunday that is 10 before the end, which is like maybe a TBR before the end of the year because they're all books that have end themes. And I thought that was funny. So occasionally I will do this, but yeah, the reindeer and the songs, and I wasn't really feeling inspired by any of it. And if I'm going to make recommendations, it has to, like when I make recommendations, I do a bookshop list for those recommendations so that if people are interested in like the labor movement or dark academia or cozy fantasy or whatever, I will have a group of recommendations in a list so you can go over to my bookshop and like make an affiliate purchase to help my channel. And like none of those readathons really made sense in that context. So that's my policy, and that is why I was like, December, I got nothing. But since we have 10 minutes left, I will put up the last question that I was going to ask you guys and then go back to the chat. Why does it do that? Streamlabs, you're just stupid sometimes. Okay. Oh boy. So Leslie's next comment is this book also going to be a trilogy or a duology? I am envisioning it as a trilogy because I have 3 women in mind. So this one is Orla, the next one is Amelia. And the third one is, I don't remember the name right now. It's on my name board. Like, who was saying Rachel on Sam's stream was talking about having a name board because they forgot all the characters' names as they went through. And that is definitely, yes, I see you. So there's 3 grandchildren. Grandchildren? Nope. Children, descendants of the brothers who left. And so I've got them in different situations so that they can reveal different historical trends. So I'm seeing a trilogy, but it's 2024. Lots of things could happen. Cat Paw says, an enormous knit cardigan mythical beast named Frank. So no wiser. Well, see, that to me says first name. Cozy fantasy, knit cardigan, mythical beast. That's fine. I'll just take it as Frank. That's his name. It's not something associated with Anne Frank, which is the other direction my mind was going. Eva. Oh, thank you, Eva. Don't forget to tap that thumbs up. Everyone, check out Margaret's new book. Here we go. This is the book that I got from Draft Digital Printing in Tennessee, out where Eva is. Close anyway, sometimes. There's the back. Sort of a shadow. I did a cover with Draft Digital for the Keating's new cover, and they don't have something to do this on the back, so it was just black. I didn't like that as much. Leslie says, by the end of the year, I'm trying to accept that I'm not going to finish all of the books on my current TBR. Oh, well, that's a life project. It's kind of like figuring yourself out, like Eva said, just ongoing. Actually, the memoir that I'm listening to right now is by Murray Sinclair, and he's a retired judge, Indigenous guy in Canada. And the memoir format is interesting, but he starts out saying that there's 4 questions everyone needs to answer in life. Where did I come from? Where am I going? How did I get here? And who am I? I think those are the 4. The third one might be different. But I thought those were pretty powerful and hard to answer. So if anyone wants to get into all that, that'd be cool. And speaking of getting into all that, one of the things I am excited about in 2025 is this series that I'm doing. So last Sunday's stream, it seems like a lifetime ago, but yes, I think it was last Sunday's stream. I was talking about the Truth and Reconciliation sessions. And basically this is like getting people together to have agenda items that we just talk about. And it's stuff that's like really tearing us up, or it's stuff that we don't understand why, or we don't understand what we can do. And we want to get in community and talk about so that we can act on it and not set like there are a misstep, if you will. So especially around like climate and energy issues, about which I was feeling real crap earlier this month or last month. I thought that would be really cool. So on my list of things to do, the first is always a very busy day. The fact that it's after a launch and also on a stream date is not going to make today any easier. But yes, on my list of things to do is to contact the folks for a planning stream this month and the first TRC session in January. So I haven't forgotten. I just can only do one thing at a time. Yeah. Anita agrees. Christy is a great editor. Yay. And she's not doing great right now health-wise. So if you have any good spare thoughts to send Christy's way, appreciate it. Eva said, I want to come up with a consistent way to review. Any recs there on a reviewer who shares their system? Oh, this is a good question for the chat. So my reviews are for me when I go back and try to remember what a book is about. So I'm not a good person to ask about this. I am not consistent. Usually I use my review space and Storygraph to write down the page numbers of the stuff that I found either really good or like didn't make sense. So it's my record keeping, and it's really not helpful for other people unless I go in with the mindset of, oh, I want this to get to more people. I'm going to write a real punchy 3-line thing about the best things about this and who it's good for. And then like disperse it. But usually that's not my goal. So inconsistent for the win. Eva says, I may just focus on indie books for December, but I already know I'll DNF more than I'll finish for various reasons. Yeah, that's fine. It's your life, give it a try. And that's, I think, enough to be appreciated. Jim says, I have 5 books left on the 10 before the end challenge. Well done. 10 before the end. 5 books left on the 10 before the end challenge. You had a video recently that was about, was it 10 before the end? I thought it was, oh yes, the 10 before the end challenge, which is different from your Goodreads reading goal, which you were close and you were going to find, I think you only had a few left. And so you don't have to read all the 10. So that's good. Or time to relax. Eva says, yes, you are the recommendations gal for reading challenges. Cannot believe there's none for December. I mean, there's a whole bunch. There's like 20, 30 readathons, but none of them were like calling to me. I'm sorry. I'm not a Vlogmas person. That's just nonsense. JC says, have you already started the next book, Margaret? Oh, good question. No, I have not. So, the book is part of the series called The Widening Gyre. And I had one person from A Mighty Blaze say, The Widening Gyre. I get that reference. That's from the Yeats poem. So I'm glad someone caught it. And the poem is about things just getting out of control, right? The widening, something in the widening gyre, the center cannot hold. And this is where things fall apart. The title comes from as well. And it's because this decade seems to me to be the time where the stuff was breaking out, right? So what you had as a strict controlled society started splintering and widening, and a gyre is like a little tornado. So like, just picture that. That's what I was going for. And yes, I haven't started the next book in the series. I have my character, I have my setting, I have my like a plot point. But I don't have a draft. So yeah, that will be to come. JC says, what I'm most looking forward to in 2025 is publishing my next book. All right, way to go. Oh, excellent. Eva says, I thought of the father in Shameless for Frank first. Random. Shameless. Is that a movie? It's ringing a vague bell, but I'm not remembering the character. Exciting, JC. Yes. Cat Paw says, publishing another book, finding a new writing system that works better for me. Yay. Yes, I'm excited for that book that you did a whole gotta push it through to the end kind of session. And I was hearing about that in the past couple weeks. So I'm looking forward to hearing about that coming out. Eva says, I am excited to build closer bonds in 2025. Yes. And maybe put out more books, plural. And for sure, my first author event. Ooh, nice. I don't have the stream up yet, but in terms of author events, next Sunday, I will be heading downtown to Holiday Cheer, which is an Oregon Historical Society event for all the authors publishing books in the year. And it's a little holiday get together. There's like hot chocolate and a Santa and a Christmas tree and decorations and carolers. It's super fun. It's like the best author event that I've been to. I don't know if I'll sell out, but I'm going to prepare for that anyway, just in case. But I get to see a lot of author buddies I don't normally, and also sell books. So it's going to be great. Before then, I'm going to be doing a stream where I'm discussing a book Jim has read. Jim helped prod me to not throw this book away. No Logo by Naomi Klein. And we finally got through it. But I have a older version than Anya. So Anya from Well Traveled Books, one of the co-hosts of Climathon, and I were buddy reading this book, and she has an appendix because I think her edition is a couple years later. So she emailed me that, and it is on my list today to read those like last 12 or 13 pages. So then I'll be fully finished. So before I go down to holiday cheer, we will hopefully be doing a stream on both of our channels, but I don't know if Streamlabs can handle that. So I tried to set up a way to demo today, but it didn't work out. So we'll see. It'll be somewhere, and we'll be talking about No Logo for Climathon. So Leslie says those 4 questions are going to spiral me into an existential crisis. No, it's just something that you sort of chew on, right? So like, where did I come from? No, the 3rd question has to be different then. Where did I come from? Where am I going? It's not how did I get here, because that's too like number 1. Anyway, I just thought it was neat because he starts out as someone who doesn't know much of his Anishinaabe culture, and then he actually, this is the fun thing that I think I told Gareth a bit ago, was that he went to Wales on an exchange. Oh no, I told Marion. He went to Wales on an exchange with like air cadets or something, and he stayed with someone who was really interested to know like how another colonized people was doing under the British Empire. And he was like, I don't know, I'm Canadian. Like they had suppressed all the indigenous culture to survive. And so when he went back after having this like Welsh, host dad say like, you need to keep up this, and you need to, make sure that your language survives, and that kind of stuff, because the Welsh had been through it. He was more inspired to ask people about those things in his family when he got back. So it influenced the direction of his life. Study abroad, man. JC says, thank you, Eva. I'm excited to get another one out there. Planning stream. Yeah, JC's on the list for the planning stream. Books. Leslie, Eva reviews may vary on Insta, has shared their systems in a post. Oh, okay, that's a great recommendation for consistent reviewing. Thank you, Leslie. Andy says, hiya, hello. Thank you for booping the like button. Esther is here. And I saw Esther's vlogmas short earlier today. Very fun. What is she most looking forward to be ahead in my writing publishing timeline? To be ahead. So you think you're going to be ahead of your own deadlines? Man, Esther's ambitious. Eva says, thank you. I was saying hi to Esther. Eva says, I need to enter into my cozy readaholic era. That's my new answer for the question. Okay. All right. Oh, we're saying highs. Love the cover. Thank you. Here we go. I guess I could have put it in the background, but I don't know Streamlabs yet, and they just rebooted everything I had saved in there, so we're mad at them. TIL. Okay, what does TIL stand for? That a gyre was a little tornado. Today I learned that a gyre was a little tornado. Yeah, like those toys, a gyroscope that you have to like spin a certain way and it goes one way, but it's spinning the other way. It's something about that, and I can't remember the exact definition, but yeah, I remember those growing up. The decade is the time where the shit hits the fan. The decade. I recommend a starting point reading Yeats. So it's YEATS, and a starting point. I'll see. This is the decorating that I did, and it's gonna bite me in the ass because now I can't open the doors. think, do I have it in here? There's the Irish fiction. Do I not have the poetry book? Maybe not. Maybe not. Okay, well, I had a book of Irish poetry for a long time. I think Yeats is a playwright and poet and probably short fiction writer. So cat paw. Yeah, I guess I would recommend starting with the poetry first. And especially if you can find a book that highlights what the poetry was referencing historically, because it's like World War I and before, and independence and revolt, and like there's a lot of interesting things that he was commenting on in that time period. So super fascinating. Oh, we're 5 minutes after the hour. Okay, so I'm going to try to get through the chat. It says 36. Are there really 36 chats I haven't seen yet? Okay. Leslie says, I feel like next year I'm going to do the opposite and abandon the rating scale of 1 to 5. Sometimes I love a book, but based on system, I end up giving a low score. Or I reflect on too many 5 stars. Huh. Yeah, I don't worry about being too consistent. I think that's my secret. Shameless is the TV series. There's a US and a UK version. I watched the US. Is that the one with the really famous Black actress? Nope, name's not coming to me. I'm bad with TV series. Question here. Gareth says, have you thought about writing a book set around the Toll Puddle martyrs? I think this is before. So this thing is so Jim will know about this from a long time ago. I did consider going to Australia with the end of my last trilogy. This event is about folks who were, I think, demonstrating or protesting in some way, and they got very strict sentences and were transported. And it was like the beginning. I want to say like 1819, 1820, but it's before my current window. So my brain is not starting up. It's a little cold. The engine is cold in here. So no, I don't know enough about the English legal system. And so if this was going to be dramatized, kind of like Zadie Smith does in The Fraud, I would have to start from zero. Like I don't know anything. I've watched series. I don't know how realistic they are. I've done a lot of study about like home life and cottage life and farming life and industrialization, but like this would be that I think would be the angle, is to dramatize the courtroom proceedings, and I wouldn't be comfortable in that. So if I have the right thing, if I'm thinking about the right thing, I might not be. The guy that plays the father in Shameless is William H. Macy. Oh, so that's the Frank you were thinking about. William H. Macy. Oh man, that takes me back. Cat Boss says that one will hopefully be out end of January. And Dino and Dina. The one that you were working on. Yay! End of January. That's exciting. Okay, well, if you want a place to share it, let me know. I could do a post or invite you on, or just share whatever you were posting for sure. Eva says, sounds like a fun event. I hope you sell out. Putting that out there right along. Healing wishes, vibes, and prayers for Christy. Thank you, Eva. Eva says, spiral you into a gyre, maybe. Best we can allow. Today I learned. Yeah, I did eventually figure it out. Yeah, so old. Esther says, well, I'm going to try to write as much as I can in December to hopefully be 3 months ahead. Wow. Okay. Good luck. Good luck. Good luck. Devin is here to say hello. So I'm trying to wrap up. Hello, Devin. You said the decade your book happens is when a lot of stuff goes wrong. So I just said, so in other words, shit hits the fan. But it's not going wrong. It's going right. It's unraveling the fabric of the oligopolist British Empire. So I would say stuff goes right, just for clarification. Oh, all right. This is just people dragging me. I love it. Excuse me. Oh. That's always a good goal, but not really something you can control. Same. Oh, I'm thinking of Scandal. Shameless. Scandal. That's what I'm getting mixed up. Snola Hampton isn't Shameless, but I don't think she's the star of the show. Found with Mark Paul Gosselaar. That also takes me back. Whew. 1834? Oh, in Dorset. Okay. Agricultural laborers from the village of Tolpuddle in Dorset who were arrested and tried in 1834. Thank you, Jim. Okay, Dorset's out of my comfort zone. But also, what would you dramatize? Did they get sent to Australia instead of hanged? Because that's the part I'm remembering about them. Tried to form a union. Okay, Gareth and Jim are helping me here. And they were convicted and sentenced to penal transportation to Australia. Yes. Okay, so they tried to form a union. There was no association. There's no free association, and anything that looked like a union or demonstrating was, clapped in irons. A lot of the Free Ireland movement was transported to Australia too. Yes, and if you guys follow Scott on Gunpowder Fiction and Plot, he did a review of Dira Yawada, which is a book that I read as a new release, and it is actually about someone who is one of these free Irish transported prisoners and working towards freedom. And he interacts with a woman who is First Nations Indigenous in Australia, and they're on the one reformer's land in the whole district, and it's really well done. And there's lots of other language stuff in there, which I found really cool. And when I listened to the audiobook, it's by Anita Hess, Heiss. Can't wait to order my ebook on Tuesday. Maybe even read it this month. Remind me. Okay, I'll try to remind you. Make sure you do something to celebrate your huge accomplishment. I did. I went out and shopped for Small Business Saturday yesterday. It was awesome. Okay, I got to the end. Okay, so now I can take this down. And that is our show. That was a fun Q&A session. I did not prepare for this because I never get questions on Instagram when I put out something. So this was delightful. Thank you all for showing up and being curious and enthusiastic, and happy December. It's a busy day. It's a busy weekend, but I hope you're launching into the festive season with at least a little bit of juice in your battery to celebrate with other people and do some fun planning stuff. So that's it for us today, everyone. Thanks for going a little long with me, and I'll talk to you again soon.